what I would like to address really quickly was in the foundations of the program of the search for the new paradigm in the Academy, as well as in the foundations of the World University Consortium as its initiative to create exactly what Hazel was speaking about, which is a free global education, especially educating people on the vital planetary concerns. So one of the visions and one of the formulations of that new paradigm of human development, particularly as new paradigm in education, is what I have called new culture of learning, which would be a universally shared culture of learning, including a particular cultural climate or atmosphere encompassing certain values, sets of systems of care and support, including both technological as well as other aspects of human activity that need to be supported in that way, as well as a social medium. So it's kind of a three-prong approach to creating a new culture of learning, whereby it includes climate, cultural climate, universal cultural climate, set of systems of care and support, and a social movement. So we were asking, in the formative stages of the World University Consortium, we were asking what kind of institutional, policy making, funding, technological, curriculum, pedagogical, and consciousness changes and developments does it take to make the quantum leap toward the universal goals we identified. So what I want to point out here is this incredible, powerful stretch between the notion of the quantum leap and being able to generate a universal change or move, grand shift towards universal goals. And the significance of it is what I have called before quantum learning, in that it is that which has the smallest change on the deepest scale level generates enormous changes. And thinking of the splitting of the atom is just one example of, unfortunately, devastating example. That we could mention what kind of power a quantum shift can create. Once again, the smallest change on the deepest level can generate enormous change. And in this particular context, I am talking about the smallest shift on the deepest consciousness level of every individual, of which Danica and Hazel were speaking about, can create that impetus motivation towards social change and gather momentum towards universal concerns and a sense of planetary citizenship, universal care and planetary citizenship. And I am here drawing on the knowledge of two academic mothers of mine, which are Rianne Eisler with her notion of care, and Hazel Henderson with her sense of planetary citizenship. So, you know, in terms of formal design, this new culture of learning would include technological advance combined with art, motion art, and gaming, for example, of which wonderfully Danica spoke. In terms of contact, it would bring forth double and multiple binds of expertise, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary issues, so others have spoken about it. And in terms of values, it would have to be dynamic, focused on the change, on the processes, transitions, and transformation. It would have to be contextually embedded, dialogic, inclusive, empathic, participatory, and co-creative, and holistic, of course, and multidimensional. So to conclude here, I would like to say that in this vision, we have observed that in the current state of affairs, we identified a spectrum of pressing needs in education that stem from the evident lack of transdisciplinary perspective, personal resonance, envisioning, and a sense of greater purpose and bigger picture of service to humanity, of every individual, of every learner. So in accord with academies and consortiums' values and missions, our goal is to work on promoting, designing, and delivering a broader and more relevant vision, what I have called education with society for the future. So futures and globally focused, we will strive to create an intellectual and leadership gathering place, experimental and innovative lab at which transformational education, cultural diplomacy, interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research, personal growth and social change practices bring together international leaders, creatives, visionaries, policymakers, experts, and students into a global community of learners, planetary citizens, and game changers. And towards that end is exactly what we have created these webinars as a starting point, as an experimental place from which we gather multitudes of these exquisite voices, such as the ones we have today, in order to generate greater content and a greater platform from which to offer this overarching comprehensive content that can be disseminated for mobilizing lifelong learners. And addressing the notion of the current state of affairs, I'm sure that Ingrid Stenge, with Origins of Our Present Basis for Education, will address root causes of where we're at, and hopefully pitch us forward as well into her vision of how we should